in one word would be awesome.
I'd say community.
A culmination.
Passion. The passion of this community.
The evolution of this whole town center concept goes back to 1999. And that's when our then mayor, Christine Nurnberg, set up a committee with the challenge of where do we want Mequon to be in 10 to 15 years. We put out a citywide survey to all the residents and the businesses. And one of the questions on that survey was, would you be in favor with Mequon and Thiensville working together to make Thiensville the town center for Mequon? Frankly, we were pleasantly surprised when 64% of the people came back and said yes. It was very complicated at first to get the two communities working together, which was subcommittees. Consultants would come in and give us presentations. We'd have open houses for the public to show them where we were, what we were doing. So many, many people were involved. Things were really moving along in the early 2000s, but then the recession hit in 2008, which really slowed things down. It was very difficult for a developer to come in and tell their story. We made it hard, and Cindy Schaefer was the one that came up with what is now Spur 16. She stuck through all these meetings, sat waiting for the council to be able to make a presentation, came to our town center committee meetings. The other person was Jim Marshall. Jim Marshall built the first building right in the middle of a real messed up area of Mequon.
So somebody had to be crazy enough to be first to say yes. It's kind of like this building in the town center. I think we were probably, and you could ask Stan Smith, we were the first to say yes to building a building in the town center when this entire area was blighted, and lo and behold, look what we have now. And so it's been a marvelous ride.
The exciting thing for me now is to look back and realize what we've done and what we've accomplished. It's important for them to know, look, now I'm in the town center of Mequon, Thiensville. If I turn right, I'm going to be in the village of Thiensville. People really didn't recognize that before. If I go straight, I'm going to be in a key part of the town center of Mequon.
I was involved with the design process from the very start, and every single step along the way, things came off better than I expected. And not only the design, but the relationship of the two different groups. And it's been a very, very pleasant experience all along. Once the city and the village had decided that they were going to go ahead with a project like this, they have appointed a design committee. It consisted of both staff and citizens from both the village and the city. And we had public hearings, we had many meetings where we would spend time establishing a series of bullet points for our project. Things like we wanted low maintenance. We wanted to get the high school athletes off the road when they came around the corner. We wanted to have something unique. We wanted to have something that showed the cooperation between the village and the city. We selected a growth design group from Cedarburg. It was led by Peter Damsgaard, who was very, very attentive to our list of bullet points. We came to the point where we had to put it out for bids, and when we put it out for bids, we were shocked, and so we had to come back for a redesign. The original project was not in our budget. And so we went back for a redesign, and again, Peter and his group of growth did a great job of re-establishing something that was within our budget, and we came up with the current design. Bob Blazek, who is the head of the Mequon-Thiensville Historical Society, was asked to come up with the wording for the storyboards. There are 5 storyboards here. One tells the story of the town center, one tells us a brief history of Mequon, one tells a brief history of Thiensville, one tells about how this was a site where the indigenous people met hundreds of years ago. And it was Bob's suggestion to hire Sam Latourie, who is a Mequon blacksmith, to create the pedestals for our storyboards.
My involvement started a little over 2 years ago. I got a call from Connie Pouquet. She brought me up to speed on what the design committee had accomplished. The concern was from her and a lot of other people is the bids came in so high. And she was wondering if it wouldn't be possible for the Rotary Foundation to take this project over and bid it out as a private project rather than a municipal project. So we entered into an agreement with the city. The foundation ended up leasing the land for $1 a year. That gave us the legal status to come on this land and put this project together. I'm also proud to say that we are 100% completed with the construction, and it is 100% funded and paid for. The next step in the very near future now is to turn this back over to the city of Mequon. They will own it and they will maintain it from this point going forward. This edifice here on this corner, it catches everybody's attention. You can't miss it. It's so well designed. It's got curves to it that run really smooth. There's no really sharp corners to it. It just fits here very, very well. The other key though is that we need to get people to come into the facility and see what's inside of it. Yes, it looks great from the corner. Anybody that comes up to this very busy corner gets to see it. But you really need to stop, you really need to take the time, you need to walk in here, view the river, view the storyboards, and see what it's really all about. If you go back 20 years, all the activity was out on Port Road. And this part of our community was kind of ignored. So to look at what's been done over the last 20 years is really magnificent.
We have so many engaged community members that I think people would become attached to this, and I think it'll just take off. I really do. I know initially the sign was going to be bigger and more expensive. Frankly, the best thing that happened is they made it smaller, because I think the size of that sign is just about right for that lot, because you want to have enough room for landscaping so that it has a great curb appeal. And it's taken all this time to develop into something really, really kind of special. They just needed someone to be crazy enough to be first to build, and we were back in 2011 in the middle of a recession. It's like, what are those people doing? And then 2 years ago we decided to add on, and we did. So and then we have people like Cindy Schaefer across the street and Tom Neiman next to us. So they're not thinking years, they're thinking decades. Those people are incredible. If there is a word to describe the people that I just mentioned, it's their vision. There's not a whole lot of communities that you drive through that have that kind of gateway.
One of the things that's been a real pleasant surprise in this whole project is the way the community came together to support the project. We had over 150 donors from our community that stepped forward to make this project happen. But many of them are people that aren't looking for any recognition. They just want something that's right for the community. Quite honestly, it wasn't too hard to find these people to step forward.
It's the quality of Mequon, the quality of the development, the quality of the people in this town.
This is truly where a lot of the action is now, and just a real feeling of satisfaction. But it is a culmination of all this activity we've had.
What an awesome monument, the gateway to Mequon and Thiensville.